The Atlanta Dream arrived at Gainbridge Fieldhouse with defensive zeal that could rival a championship contender. Employing unprecedented intensity for a preseason contest, the coaching staff unveiled an arsenal of pressure tactics designed specifically to contain the rising star, Caitlin Clark. From the opening tip, the Dream deployed full court press, three-quarters court traps, half-court denials, and a dizzying array of off-ball scheme variations more commonly reserved for playoff elimination games. The mere sight of defenders lunging into passing lanes and aggressively jumping over pin-down screens sent a clear message: no quarter would be given. Yet it was precisely this all-in approach that inadvertently laid bare vulnerabilities capable of being exploited. Over the course of 23 minutes, Clark orchestrated the Fever's offense with surgical precision, accruing 13 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. Statistics that belie the notion of a mere exhibition.
Atlanta Dream backcourt defense looked amazing. Okay, they looked really good. I like what I was seeing from them. Not necessarily somebody you're just going to walk over when you come into their territory. They were really getting after it, man. Getting blocks, getting steals. I mean, making it really tough.
However, I'm not joking when I say this. The Atlanta Dream throw 17 different looks at Caitlin per quarter. He would throw a different look at Caitlin every single possession. However, some of it worked, some of it didn't work, some worked better than other things.
Focusing exclusively on silencing Clark, the Dream unwittingly surrendered opportunities elsewhere, creating gaps so glaring that footage of the game quickly became a coach's dream for learning what not to do. Rather than masking Clark's strengths, Atlanta's intensive press magnified them, providing a laboratory for future opponents to dissect and replicate successes against an overzealous defensive scheme. Atlanta's schematic commitment went beyond typical preseason experimentation. It resembled a demonstration of every possible press variation in a single contest.
You know, hounding your backcourt, hounding your guard, hounding your shooting guard. They were on him, man. They were on him.
Throughout the game, Carl Smeska rotated 4 players onto Caitlin Clark, each with like different degrees of success.
Full court traps aimed to force early turnovers, but broken rotations often left perimeter shooters unchallenged. Three-quarter court traps on the sideline forced Clark into rush decisions. Yet the perimeter defense collapsed so aggressively that drive and kick opportunities emerged in abundance. Even the half-court denial packages, designed to punish entry passes, faltered when rotational support lagged, yielding uncontested catch-and-shoot looks for secondary playmakers. While intention and effort were undeniably high, execution cracks formed as defenders lunged prematurely and abandoned their assignments. Atlanta's coaches, perhaps seeking to unveil an all-encompassing blueprint, instead broadcasted the inherent risk of telegraphed aggression, a high-risk, high-reward formula that, when misaligned, invites the very outcome it seeks to prevent. The takeaway is clear. Press variety cannot substitute for cohesive rotation and accountable communication, a lesson Atlanta's staff will need to internalize before the regular season. Under the relentless scramble defense, Clark maintained an almost unfazed composure, akin to a veteran navigating a minefield with effortless grace. Her dribble penetration remained decisive, slicing through collapsing defenders for easy finishes or collapsing defense for timely kickouts.
Caitlin Clark, 13 points. I mean, Caitlin was looking ridiculous out here, man. 13 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 5 for 11 from the floor, 3 for 8 from the 3.
The first thing I'm going to say is, if this would have been a regular season game, I believe Caitlin Clark very much flirts with a triple-double in this game.
7 assists underscore her ability to read rotations and distribute with pinpoint accuracy, often rejecting the lure of heroics to involve teammates with superior spacing. Notably, only 3 turnovers marred her performance, and 2 were self-inflicted miscues rather than the product of defensive pressure. One penalized travel call reflected a momentary slip in footwork, while another errant wraparound pass fell into Naz Hillman's waiting arms. The lone turnover creditable to Dream defense occurred on a strip-end steal, yet even that play highlighted Clark's fearlessness. Her attempt at a creative wraparound pass exemplified the very vision that makes her uniquely dangerous. Across the stat line, 13 points on efficient shooting, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, and minimal errors. Clark painted a portrait of maturity and adaptability. Even when faced with tenacious ball pressure, she adjusted seamlessly, a testament to hours of film study and unshakable confidence in her skill set.
Although it didn't seem like she was trying to push tempo and run the floor as hard as we know she can, she still had moments where she outran her defender and laid the ball up, got around screens, and pulled the shot. So she looks good. I just don't think they were trying to really go hard. And maybe they were trying to see how the half-court game worked.
Caitlin Clark already in mid-season form on the three-pointers.
In an attempt to discover the magic formula for containing Clark, the Dream rotated for primary defenders. Each player brought distinct attributes, yet none could consistently halt Clark's progression. Gray initiated the rotation, applying relentless three-quarter court pressure that disrupted early passing lanes and forced Clark to improvise. For stretches, Gray's length and tenacity maintained contact, resulting in a few contested pull-up jumpers. However, sustained pressure led to fatigue, and Gray's attention to Clark left open teammates unguarded, yielding kick-out assists.
The player who seemed to have the most success on Caitlin Clark defensively was Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray started, whenever Alicia Gray was on her, she'd be picking Caitlin Clark up three-quarter court. And what that didn't allow Caitlin Clark do was look up and throw the pass.
Next, veteran Howard entered, her reputation as a lockdown defender preceding her. Yet, Clark's hesitation drives and stepbacks created separation faster than Howard could recover, exposing a gap between reputation and execution.
The player that I think Caitlin Clark got the most success on probably was Ryan Howard. Caitlin was able to kind of burn Ryan Howard a few times. She was able to control the entire game on Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard, who's meant to be this all-world defender, did not do a great job on Caitlin Clark.
Finally, Tina Paopao faced Clark in the late stages, an audacious gamble considering Paopau's developing status. Clark promptly dissected Paopao, posting her up for easy spin moves and hammering fadeaway jumpers with defenders trailing.
Caitlin Clark, once Tina Paopao stepped on her, Caitlin got literally whatever she wanted.
Now, like I said, they had a go back and forth moment with Caitlin Clark and Paopao. Paopao ended up trying to guard Caitlin Clark. Caitlin does a step back, shoot the long three, bangs it right in her face. And then Paopao, I don't know if it was the next play or a play, a little extra play down, but ended up getting a little get back. Did a little cross. Oh, come here. Shot it. Went right in, man.
The minute Tina Paopao guarded Caitlin Clark was just, that might have violated the Geneva Convention.
The rotating cast of defenders provided a microcosm of the Dream's dilemma. Athleticism and pedigree alone cannot substitute for schematic cohesion when facing a multifaceted playmaker. While primary coverage garnered headlines, the most egregious errors lay in Atlanta's off-ball defensive discipline. Screens intended to free shooters were met not with disciplined hedges or blitzes, but with exaggerated jumps. An overzealous reaction that surrendered the lane on nearly every switch. Without a consistent principle, whether to fight through, hedge hard, or trap, Atlanta's defenders vacillated between abandoning assignments and committing to ill-timed rotations. The result was a carousel of open cuts and staggered rotations that Clark navigated effortlessly. When impatient defenders lunged over pin-down screens, she curled directly to the basket, drawing fouls or finishing in traffic. Conversely, when defenders dropped back to mitigate drives, she punished them with step-back jumpers from NBA range. This oscillation revealed a fundamental lack of accountability. The Dream never committed to a singular off-ball strategy, defaulting to desperation motions that simply could not contain a gifted playmaker. The footage presents a clear imperative to refine defensive identity before the regular season. Atlanta must establish definitive principles for off-ball coverage or risk similar breakdowns against teams possessing Clark's caliber of talent.
Caitlin just had her way with the entire team because of how they were playing.
Because she was heading down that road. She only played 23 minutes. She had 6 rebounds and 7 assists and 13 points. She started out real hot from 3, ended up 3 for 8, 5 for 11 overall.
Beyond schematic weaknesses, Atlanta's hustle plays and loose ball instincts failed to complement their strategic aggression. Several instances emerged where Clark drove past one defender, only to encounter no-help defense until it was too late. Open teammates under the rim received late rotations, spoiling potential charge draws or block attempts. On multiple possessions, loose balls ricocheted toward Dream defenders, a prime opportunity to convert defensive chaos into transition offense. But players either stood flat-footed or hesitated, awaiting official whistles. These lapses underscore a larger narrative. While intent and energy were undeniably present, competitive executions lag. The contrast between effort and outcome is stark. Hustle counts only when paired with timely reactions. The Dream might tout their aggressive intent as a positive off-season development, yet film study will highlight an urgent need to marry that effort with fundamental basketball instincts, anticipation, timely rotations, and decisive contesting of loose balls. Often lauded for offensive brilliance, Clark's defensive journey remains an underexplored facet of her game. On-ball defense displayed notable progress. Her instincts for jumping screens and forcing refusals prevented easy entry passes and deterred some dribble drive attempts.
Man, even great defense coming from Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, who looked a little slow this game, looked like they didn't want to really push the tempo like that due to her leg and, maybe wanted to check out the half-court game.
The defense is better. All right, there was a couple of times the shot clock ran down on the Dream, and that was a wrap.
She was ridiculous, man. You talking about somebody playing defense and throwing those quarterback lobs full court right in your pocket. I mean, beautiful, man, beautiful.
Yet off-ball, her positional awareness was inconsistent. She frequently turned her head, losing track of cutters and leaving both her assignment and the paint vulnerable. The Dream recognized this and occasionally dared her to defend off-ball, hoping to exploit lapses. But their erratic rotations often inhibited clear advantages, nullifying what could have been a concerted focus on Clark's defensive shortcomings. While film prior to this contest hinted at her defensive work ethic, this matchup illustrated both the strides made and the journey ahead. In a regular season context, opponents will emphasize her off-ball responsibilities, making consistently disciplined rotations and communication crucial. For Clark, refining those areas promises to elevate her two-way impact. For opponents, it provides a roadmap to craft defensive game plans that maximize team strengths while targeting her adjustment areas.
But nonetheless, was playing some really good defense. Love how she was moving those puppies, as Big Perp say. Love how she was moving those puppies and staying in front of a man, keeping up with a man. She did a really good job today.
The best way to go at Caitlin Clark is to force her to play defense.
Preseason statistics traditionally serve as approximations, indicators rather than certainties. Yet Clark's line of 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists in 23 minutes projects to near triple-double territory if extrapolated to typical starter minutes, 32 to 33. Projecting her per 36 numbers reveals a potential stat line of approximately 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists with elite efficiency. Such projections, while theoretical, underscore the magnitude of her talent and the challenge she poses.
And she still, in 23 minutes, had 13 points, 6 boards, 7 assists. Like, if she plays what her normal would be, like 32, 33 minutes, you're looking at an 18-point triple-double.
Conversely, Atlanta's defensive metrics, forcing only 3 turnovers on Clark and conceding high percentage looks, signal cautionary data points for their coaching staff. Should the Dream's regular season defensive efficiency echo the hardships of this exhibition, opponents may view their defense as a sieve. While preseason games lack the stakes of regular encounters, these statistics offer a snapshot of evolving trends. Clark's ability to thrive under duress and Atlanta's urgent need to refine defensive cohesion. The film breakdown extends far beyond a single game. It informs the Fever's strategic blueprint. Offensive coordinators now possess empirical evidence of how to exploit overcommit defenses, incorporate misdirection off-ball screens, leverage Clark's passing prowess to hit open cutters, and recruit set plays that bait aggressive closeouts. On defense, the Fever must continue developing off-ball communication and drop coverage schemes to blunt opposing press tactics.
I'm not going to kid you. At times, the offense for the Indiana Fever was a rough watch.
Additionally, attention to detail, securing loose balls, timely rotations, and crashing the offensive glass emerges as non-negotiable priorities. For Clark's teammates, this contest offers both caution and inspiration. Caution in recognizing that aggressive intent alone cannot dictate defensive success. Inspiration in realizing the heights attainable when a transcendent talent commands a court. As regular season preparations accelerate, the Fever can harness lessons from this performance to craft an identity that maximizes strengths and minimizes susceptibilities.
I understand they're trying to work out kinks. I understand there's going to be practices before we get to the start of the season, but I did not feel like Caitlin Clark had the ball in her hands as much as I would like to see, frankly.
Ultimately, the most captivating revelation of this contest may be the singular truth that transcends tactics, rotations, and statistical analysis. The only individual capable of consistently stopping Caitlin Clark is Caitlin Clark herself. Whether through an occasional benching to reset focus, a momentary loss of intensity, or simply an off-night shooting, the onus remains on her to self-police and elevate her own performance.
There's a world where this team could struggle for the first 5 games, 6, 7 games during the regular season, trying to get their feet underneath them, trying to get their sea legs, as we're talking about, right?
While opposition schemes will grow more sophisticated, Clark's relentless drive, evident in her calm demeanor amid chaos, remains unquantifiable. Her self-correcting tendencies, combined with an unyielding work ethic, represent a wild card that defies opponent game planning. As the WNBA enters a new season shaped by analytics, scouting reports, and collaborative coaching staffs, the ultimate X factor rests in the hands of the player at the center of every discussion. All defensive blueprints, all adjustments, all statistical projections converge on one inescapable reality. Caitlin Clark dictates the terms, and until someone else claims that power, the narrative belongs to her.